Well, thank you for joining us. I'm Jurnee Taylor here with meteorologist Simone Thomas. How are you doing today, Miss Simone?
Good, how are you? I know it's a little gloomy on
Yes,
this Monday, but we're still here making it, gonna have a great week. Finally gonna feel like fall, at least after today. Yesterday was the fall equinox, as you've been hearing us talking about, and unfortunately, summer hadn't gotten the hint that it's the time to go. Here's what we're tracking. There is a little bit of rain across central Arkansas. That's ahead of a frontal boundary that's actually starting to move through. So a cold front moving through today going to offer the chance for some rain, but it's also going to bring a much needed cool down to make it finally feel like fall. Now the rain right now really across the Little Rock Metro is just some rain showers, but if you have any lunch plans and you're headed out, you probably wouldn't hurt to have that umbrella handy. As we continue through the rest of the afternoon, going to be a fairly gloomy afternoon. More of that rain developing across portions of the state, pretty scattered in coverage. Highs today still warmer than they should be for this time of year, middle to upper 80s ahead of that front moving through. That front is kind of taking its time. It's going to start to move through today into tomorrow, and as early as Wednesday it'll start to feel a little bit better, but I'll have a better look at how that front is moving through and those impacts coming up in your 7-day outlook, so make sure you stick around.
All right, thank you, Simone. Well, new at noon, officials are investigating after a shooting in Pine Bluff left one person injured. According to reports, officials responded to the 1100 block of West Pullen around 10 p.m. Upon arrival, they located one victim with minor injuries. The victim was treated for non-life-threatening injuries, and at this time, no suspect information has been released. This investigation is currently underway. Also right now, authorities in Garland County are searching for answers in a deadly shooting. It happened Friday in Royal. The Garland County Sheriff's Office reports one person is in custody. The incident is still under investigation, but of course, we will keep you updated as we learn more. A man shot by Arkansas State Police during a traffic stop is set to appear in court. It happened in July, but just last week, police gave us this unedited dash cam video from the incident. Angel Zepit Alvarado was pulled over for speeding in Rogers, and a struggle between him and the officer followed. Zepit Alvarado was tased multiple times before the officer fired her service weapon, grazing him over the head. A prosecutor already cleared the officer of any wrongdoing. We'll continue to follow this story as the court process unfolds. In a THV 11 update, the Little Rock Fraternal Order of Police is endorsing the City of Little Rock's sales tax ballot initiative. Little Rock Mayor Frank Scott Jr. has worked behind the scenes with the proposal since the summer, hoping to gain additional support for the 1% sales tax increase. The nonprofit organization that helps Little Rock police officers and their families in times of need endorsed Scott's opponent, Steve Landers, during the 2022 mayoral election. However, the group put its differences aside, believing the potential sales tax increase would improve the Little Rock Police Department. Meanwhile, Governor Sanders says she's appealing FEMA's decision to reject a part of the state's funding request for this past May's tornado outbreak. The state is asking FEMA to cover the full cost of debris removal. Right now, county governments are covering 25% of the process, and FEMA is covering the other 75%. In a letter to the FEMA administrator, Governor Sanders says covering the cost would greatly impact the budget of hard-hit towns in Northwest Arkansas. The decision by FEMA does not affect individual assistance the agency is providing to property owners. Well, excuse me. With just 43 days until Election Day, former President Donald Trump returns to the battleground state of Pennsylvania, while Vice President Kamala Harris spends the day in Washington with no campaign events scheduled. Erica Brown has the latest on the race, including the results from a new CBS News poll.
The latest nationwide CBS News poll shows Vice President Kamala Harris has edged up slightly over former President Donald Trump, though it's still anybody's race, as shown by the statistical tie in the key battleground states. Harris may be benefiting from a surging stock market and falling interest rates. She now trails Trump by just 6 points among voters who say the economy is a major factor. Back in August, those voters gave him a 13-point edge.
Join me on the debate stage. Let's have another debate. There's more to talk about.
On Sunday, Harris once again challenged Trump to a second debate, but with a month and a half left in the race, Trump insisted there's no time.
It's too late to do another. I'd love to in many ways, but it's too late.
Vice President Kamala Harris is spending the day here in Washington with plans to campaign in 3 battleground states later this week, while former President Donald Trump returns to Pennsylvania today.
Over the weekend, Trump campaigned in Wilmington, North Carolina, where he did not mention the state's Republican candidate for governor, Mark Robinson. Robinson is engulfed in a scandal involving inflammatory comments he reportedly made on a porn site more than a decade ago. On Sunday night, his campaign announced several senior staff members have stepped down since the controversy broke, but Robinson has vowed to stay in the race. Erica Brown, CBS News, Washington.
Developing now, authorities in Birmingham, Alabama are searching for suspects in a mass shooting that killed 4 people and left more than a dozen others hurt. The gunfire broke out at a popular nightlife area Saturday night, with victims caught in the crossfire. Authorities say they believe the intended target is among the dead and that the shooting may be a hit done in exchange for a payment. Investigators found more than 100 shell casings. The police chief says multiple suspects pulled up in a car, got out, and fired shots, then jumped back into the car and took off. The investigation is still ongoing. Right now, the Israeli military is encouraging residents in southern Lebanon to evacuate the area and to leave homes where Hezbollah has stored weapons. Violence erupted over the weekend in the Middle East as Hezbollah fired more than 100 rockets into northern Israel early Sunday. Now, the latest attacks come after an Israeli strike on Friday in southern Beirut killed a top Hezbollah leader. Israel's military is now shifting its focus north away from Hamas and toward Hezbollah, which the U.S. has recognized as a foreign terrorist organization since 1997.
Life has been shattered in our northern border. I don't think any American would have accepted it as a kind of a status quo situation in the United States.
The U.S. continues to maintain a heightened military presence in the Middle East, with about 40,000 U.S. troops spread throughout the region. Officials are warning consumers of a new scam alert in the housing market. More on what you need to know coming up. Simone?
And it's a gloomy Monday out there as a cold front is trying to move through central Arkansas to finally make it feel like fall. I have the details on what you can expect, and that's coming up after this break.